Welcome to When Conspiracy Becomes Reality radio broadcast, brought to you by www.leadingedgeradionetwork.com. I am your host this evening, Lisa Haven, and I have with me a very extra special guest who I love to periodically bring on with me, and he's got lots of great intel, and that is Clinton insider Larry Nichols. Now, considering Hillary is up in the polls along with Donald Trump, or at least that's the stated fact that she's up in the polls. What reality shows is likely different. But Larry Nichols has tons of information on the Clinton administration and who else to seek for advice other than him. So, Larry, are you with me?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm here.
Thank you for coming on the broadcast. I'm really stoked that you could be here because when we take into light the Clinton family, I don't know anyone who knows them better than you, because you were with them, during his earlier years. You were his advisor. You leaked a lot of the intel that surrounded Monica Lewinsky and all the other scandals with the Clintons. And it seems they are continuing on a daily basis, are they not?
Absolutely. When Hillary ran against Barack Hussein Obama, she was so arrogant, she broke away from the system that we developed for Bill and her. She thought she was so smart she didn't have to use it. Well, Lisa, this time she's using our system by the numbers. Exactly. And of course, it's working.
Absolutely. And she's pushing a ton. Now, we know, and I want to touch a little bit on this, but I know that there is a lot of rigging of the election going on with Hillary Clinton. We know that she stole votes from Bernie Sanders. I mean, out in the open. And Bernie did nothing about it, which is truly disturbing and makes me think, is he really on? Was he a real candidate to begin with? I just don't know. But what is your take on, we all know it happens. Sometimes we feel like, there's no point in doing anything about it. But is there a way to stop the election fraud from happening?
Well, absolutely. Now, Lisa, first off, let me take your audience through just some of the things we used to do to rig an election. For those of you that have voting machines where you flip a lever, it's on a wall kind of thing, and you flick this lever, red lever. What they do on those is they go in and they put a wire. And so, for example, Lisa, say the county sheriff is loved by everybody and he always wins by 1 million votes. Well, what happens when you vote for that sheriff, they will hardwire it in that you voted for Hillary. The button down there where you vote for Trump won't work. So every time you vote for that sheriff, you voted for Hillary. We do that. Then when... So,
will they know if the Trump button, so it doesn't work, so they'll see, it's like you have to vote for Hillary.
You won't know that. You won't know it.
Got ya.
Then paper ballots, anybody still does paper ballots. What we used to do there is you go, you vote, fill out the paper ballot, put it in a box that's sealed and got a lock on it. Then usually the state police will pick up that box, put it in their trunk, transport it to the county seat to be counted. But what happens there is they put one box in. When they get to the county seat, they take out another box, and it's already been rigged. So that happens. Then you've got die vote, those that are on computer voting. Now that one is the one where it's tough to fix because die vote and its ownership are all in the tank with the Democratic Party. So it's tough. It's tough to catch that one. That's where poll watchers come in. Poll watchers have got to just pay attention to what people are saying and doing. Now, then another thing that people don't know, I didn't shut that ringer off, let me stop it. Another thing people don't know is that do you know who certifies your voting equipment? The voting machines.
Who?
They're stored, in a warehouse, and then come election time, they send someone in to certify the machines. Well, what people don't know, Lisa, is the last presidential election. Whoever won the last presidential election in your state, whichever one got the most votes in your state, that party is in control of the voting machines. And so therefore that party goes and they are in charge of getting them certified to be ready to use. So it's totally rigged. I mean, get real, you would think they would bring independent, certification people. They don't. It's party. So there's a million ways to rig them, and they're going to use them all. But the way we stop it is two ways. Folks, listen to me. And if you want your vote to count, vote absentee and make a copy of your ballot. Vote absentee and make a copy of your ballot. They can't twiddle with that, Lisa.
So, I mean, if you're voting absentee, I mean, and you're copying your ballot, I mean, you send that in, or what exactly is the process on that for those who don't know?
Well, when you vote absentee, you'll go down and pick up a paper ballot. You'll pick up a ballot, and then you go home, you'll fill it out, then you'll mail it in. And those they cannot rig. They can't rig. Now, they can claim they didn't get it, whatever, but that's pretty hard to do for them. The way you screw them up is do absentee voting. Get your ballot well in advance, fill it out in advance, mail it in.
So is that like your permanent early voting type thing as well, or?
Sort of, yeah, except instead of early voting where you go to your voting machine or your voting precinct, you literally are filing absentee, where you literally get an absentee voter ballot.
Got ya. Now, are the early voting like on the permanent early voters, are those easily rigged as well, or is that?
Yeah, anything that the people do that casting your vote is done with a machine or in a paper ballot at the booth or at the poll. Anything you do at the poll is subject to be rigged.
Got ya. Now, if you call in, let's say you did an early ballot, or you do, something like that, and if you call in and say, were you able to count my ballot? Because I do that every year. I'll call in, and they always say, "Yep, we've got your ballot in." And are they able to tell people where they voted? So is that on record?
No, but they will announce they've got your ballot, and you've got a copy of your ballot that you made.
Yeah, that's what. Okay.
Now, where that will come in, basically all you're doing is you're alerting Hillary's people and the Democratic DNC. You're just alerting the people that are trying to rig it that people are watching, and push comes to shove, you can call for a recount. And if you call for a recount, the people that have copies of their ballots, they can walk up and show their ballots proving who they voted for. And if those numbers don't match up with what the official score is at the precinct, hey, guess what? They're in trouble. Another thing they're going to do, and they're going to do it like Philadelphia, so you're going to have a lot of precincts out in rural areas, and all of a sudden you're going to see Black Lives Matters, and you're going to see all the new Black Panther people with clubs. They're going to be standing out intimidating people, trying to get them not to go in and vote. Just go in and vote. Don't worry about them. Don't. This is your country.
Yeah, and a lot of the times there are a lot of those types of people there, unfortunately. But okay, so now we know. My other question is, if enough people vote for one particular candidate, let's say we kind of blow it out of the water with Donald Trump, because I honestly think that, Hillary is really low. I think I looked at a poll recently, and there's like 19% was her, or and I'm not exactly right, 13, 15 or something like that was undecided, and the rest were Trump. So, I mean, if we actually went out there and blew it out of the water, so to speak, could we prevent some of that fraud because of the massive amount of votes for one particular candidate? Does that make sense?
No. No, what were you saying?
If a lot of people get out and vote for Trump, say we have like 75% or 70% of the population out there voting, just regular voting ways, can we combat some of the rigged and fraud elections versus Hillary simply because of the mass amount that are voting for Trump? It would be hard for them to do it that much with massive amount. Does that make sense?
That makes sense, but it won't happen that way. You're not going to have that kind of discrepancy. This election is going to be close. It's going to be very close.
You think that many people are actually voting for Hillary?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes. Look, you got to remember, they rely on a broken coalition. A broken coalition. All of the blacks are going to vote for her. Not all, but let's just say practically all. All the Mexicans, all the Hispanics, all the Muslims. She's going to get all those votes. They're working hard to make that happen.
Oh, that they are.
And it's going to be close. Listen, the average white American, we're going to end up being the minority in this race if we're not careful.
Yeah. I know they're trying to get ballots for just any and everyone out there. I mean, all the immigrants, all the people crossing the border. And I mean, it's really getting scary these times that we live in. Now what I like is you give actual solutions. Now, we're going to take a quick break here for my sponsor at getthetea.com. He's got great products. I'm currently taking his D365, which if you have no time for the tea detox, then make sure you're taking the daily D365 detox. But let's take a quick break, and then when we come back, Larry, you and I are going to discuss some of the states and states' rights and how we can combat that.
Absolutely.
Health in America is becoming a top priority. Or maybe I should say, good health in the world is becoming a top priority. Maintaining a healthy body can be challenging. How about letting Life Change Tea help you? Our tea you make, you drink, and you benefit. Our unique blend of 8 different herbs helps you maintain good digestion, a healthy colon, and detoxes harmful toxins and parasites out of your body. And you know what? It tastes great. If you're wanting a change, a life change when it comes to health, log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. When you log on to our mobile-friendly website, you can read all the numerous testimonies of how Life Change Tea has helped so many people. We carry many, many beneficial products that help your health and keep you on track. Getthetea.com. Kind of gets in your head, doesn't it? Getthetea.com.
And we are back from our sponsor at getthetea.com. So, Larry, we were talking about how to combat a rigged election. Now, will you, now that we know, file that absentee ballot and keep a copy of it for your records, which is awesome advice. What are some other things we can do as far as the states' right goes? Because I know, and we had a discussion before this, but you believe it's absolutely possible that when Hillary gets in, if she gets in, and I'm praying not, that she could remove a majority of those states' rights, and then we're looking at communist. Basically, that's what it's going to go to, federalized system. What's your take on all of that?
Lisa, I know people are going to find it hard to believe this, but I'm going to tell you the truth. When Hillary takes office, if she does, I want every one of you to look at your grandchildren and your children. The United States of America that we know will be over. It will be. It's done. It's finished. Now, there's one thing that we can do, and we've been setting it up for months now, and it's now time. Lisa, I made a video 10, 11 months ago called Revolution 2.0. And it's about states' rights. Now, folks, what I want you all to do, and you've got to do this. If you don't, we lose. Go to www.statesrights.video. That is states with an S, states rights with an S, .video. And there you are to order you download the Revolution 2.0 video. And then, Lisa, what everyone is supposed to do, you order it, get it downloaded, watch it 3 times minimally 3 times, and you want to absorb it. You want to watch it and make it a part of you. And then at least 2 times a month between now and the election, have people over to watch it with you. Please do this, because here's why it's imperative that you do this. Hillary, if she gets elected, she will swear in, I think it's January the 21st. Within the first week that she is in office, she will fire every federal prosecutor, every one of them. That way, anything anybody has on her that you would want to maybe or be able to prosecute her with, it's over. You're not going to be able to get it. Because you can't go against her unless you go through a prosecutor, federal prosecutor. That will be shut down. And then within 30 to 45 days after she is sworn in on January the 21st, she will have all the FBI intelligence files on every governor, every lieutenant governor, and every attorney general in the country. Now, why is that? Folks, you've just seen it with Benghazi hearing. You've seen it with the email hearings. The Clintons rule by extortion and blackmail. That's what they do. And so when she gets stuff on all the governors, lieutenant governors, and attorney generals throughout the country, if they dare to stand up and use states' rights, she'll shut them down. She'll destroy them. They'll never open their mouth. And folks, states' rights is the only thing that can save us. You want it to where when Hillary Clinton gets in office, if she does, that we have already got a few states that have exercised states' rights and stripped her of the power she will have when she gets in office. There should be no power, Lisa, in Washington. None. The power belongs to the states. Now, I'm going to tell you, we have a case right now. We do. We've got one right now, North Carolina. North Carolina passed a law requiring voter ID. It went through the process to become a legal law in North Carolina. They took it to the federal lower court, and it was upheld. But then, Lisa, they sent it to the appellate court, the 4th District Appellate Court. But look what they did. If you don't think the Black Robe Mob is not active, when it went to the 4th District Appellate Court, usually there's somewhere between 9 and 11 judges on the full panel of judges. But they sent it to an abbreviated court, 3 judges. And all 3 of the judges were Democrats. Now, what North Carolina should have done is not going to federal court in the first place. And by the way, those 3 judges ruled it, get this, they ruled that law North Carolina passed was illegal because it specifically targeted blacks. That's absurd. It does not. Voter ID applies to white, black, green, yellow, whatever. But they said, this 3-judge panel said it specifically targeted blacks. Now, since it is in that 4th district, minimally, the governor should file for an en banc ruling. En banc means E-N, by the way, E-N-B-A-N-C, en banc. And that means all the judges must vote on it in the 4th district. And the reason I think they moved it to those 3 judges, Lisa, is I bet you on that 4th district court, there were some judges on there that would have upheld North Carolina's right to do it. And so they kept them from getting to rule on the case by just using the abbreviated court. But we have been calling the governor's office, people that listen to my program, Lisa, they've been calling the governor's office very respectfully and telling him to stay the course. Stay the course. Because, Lisa, if he gives in and he falls to the federal court, we'll never be able to use states' rights again because not states' rights, but voter ID, whenever it comes up again, you see you've got a precedent-setting case, so when it goes to court, the judge will throw it out and say it's already been ruled on. States' rights. States' rights. Now, Lisa, you've seen the video, haven't you? Didn't you?
Oh, yeah. And I recommend it to everybody out there. I think it answers those questions of exactly how to get states' rights over federal rights. I mean, federal, because look, that's the ultimate goal is the globalists, the ones ruling from behind the scenes, they want to make our country, they want our police federalized. That's the UN, Strong Cities Network. They want our schools federalized. That's Common Core. It comes from the UN. That's the real, which none of the states, which ticked me off, Larry, about the states, because each of the states spent 10, 15, some 15 years on developing these curriculums for their kids. Then when Common Core came, this federalized system, a bunch of these states threw out and accepted the Common Core all in the name of a little bit of money that was going to come from the feds. And that ticks me off. That's totally against states' rights. And what they did was hand a federalized system and gave away their rights to education in the name of federalizing it. It's sickening. And what I like about the video is there's ways to combat things like that. When your state does something like that, here's what you do. Here's what you need to do. Here's how you combat that. And I think that's the missing link with a lot of people here in America is we don't always know what to do. And I think it's good to have somebody who, like you, was in the system and knows exactly what's going on to inform people exactly how to combat it.
Well, and Lisa, people don't realize the 10th Amendment is in the Constitution for a reason. It wasn't just something they threw in there. And it goes back to how we've been socially engineered to where we don't even know what the Constitution's about anymore. We don't. Lisa, the Constitution is called a negative compact. Negative compact. You see, our founding fathers admitted they didn't know what was right. But what they did know was what they had just come out from under, which was King George. They knew what was wrong. And so the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, Lisa, isn't something that tells us what we're to do. What it is a legal instrument that tells the government what it can't do. And foremost in the entire framework of our Constitution is the concept of state sovereignty. States should make laws relevant to their people. States should make their own laws relevant to their communities. And the federal government is never, Lisa, to get power to come at the state and dictate. Never. And then you put Hillary in as president now, and we will become what they call a progressive society. Progressive is another word for communist. We will live under communist rule.
And you said Hillary herself is a communist, right? That's something you know.
She is a communist. And then what scares you, Lisa, is in this primary election, do y'all realize, in this primary election this season for president, over half the people that voted, over half, voted for either an announced socialist or an announced progressive, which is code word for communist.
Yeah, that makes me sick. How can anyone? No, I mean, look at Venezuela. I mean, do these people not? I mean, they have no idea. It's like, if they want socialism, I always say, get your butt to a socialist country and get the hell out of America. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you don't think things are burning out of control, just a little side note here. You all heard today and yesterday about Obama paying $400 million to Iran. At the same time, 4 hostages were released. However, they claim, Lisa, that was no ransom payment, right?
Right.
Y'all have heard about that. It wasn't ransom. It was just an oddity that those people got out at the same time that money was paid. But here's the part I don't think people heard. Did you know how the money was delivered, Lisa?
How?
The money was dropped at a dark airport, empty airport on the runway. Y'all hear me? The money was dropped on a dark, empty runway. That ain't how nations pay each other, is it?
No.
I mean, do you think you would drop a duffel bag of $400 million if you were trying to make some kind of restitution or payment from America to Iran? Would you drop it on a dark runway?
Absolutely not. And I think that goes to show the depth of the corruption that they're willing to extend to. And I mean, we know this kind of stuff has been going on for years, but I think it's been increasing, has it not?
Absolutely.
Now,
Well, they're just getting bolder. They're just doing it out in front of us now. They know we don't care.
I almost feel like we're in other countries. I mean, I look to other countries where, like China, and I mean, they have labor camps, for crying out loud. Christians are getting put in these camps, and but then we have, let's go to China and have a good heyday. We should. I mean, nothing wrong with going to China, but what I'm trying to say is we don't even have a second thought about some of the corruption that happens there. I mean, if true freedom lovers want freedom for everyone. Now, we can't provide it for everyone, but we should at least be able to say, look what's going on over here, and know what's going on in this country, or what's going on in Korea or Cuba, or, some of these countries that are just going nuts, Venezuela, or over in the Middle East. And if we see parallels in our culture, we should at least be able to do something about it. But we're so living the normalcy bias that nobody's paying attention. There are the people out there listening, absolutely are. And I'm just thankful for that. But many are not.
Lisa, I had a guest on my program. She was a lady that had spent 2 or 4 years, I can't remember, in China. She was an entertainer, and she was with a hotel there. And she was a Christian. And she talked about how they were going around and burning down Christian churches in China. And the only churches that were allowed, Christian churches that were allowed in China, were the ones that kind of taught Christianity Chinese style. But if they went biblical to the Bible, they burned them down and they arrested the priests. They even arrested the attorneys that defended them.
Jeez.
Now, you don't hear that about China. All we hear is what a great bunch of people, and all we hear is what this trade stuff's doing for us. Obama, when he was in Singapore, said that this TPP deal is good to help lift people all over the world out of poverty. Well, yeah, it does, Lisa. Yeah, it does. Because you know how they're being lifted out of poverty? Because there's an American being put in poverty for them to do that job.
Yep. And that's what I like about Trump. He wants to bring those jobs back to America. And hey, let's not pay people over in China that are doing forced labor for cheap, which isn't even fair to the people in China. This isn't better for China. This isn't better for other countries to say, hey, we'll hire you to do more work for less pay. Okay, that's like making people poorer. I mean, in other countries, that's what it is. And it's not that, if they're, I don't know. And then here we have Americans not having jobs because our jobs are being sent out to countries where most of it is working way too much for way too little. And that's not, and it should not be so. We should not support governments business-wise, we should not be allowed to do business, so to speak, other than trading and whatnot, but not sending our jobs overseas for all these other companies to take advantage and communist regimes to use it to their benefit, because they are pocketing some of that as well. Why not build up our own economy? Why not? Why not, Larry?
Well, that's the problem. You got to remember, folks, Hillary wants to rule. Now, I'm going to tell you about her administration so you know, because I wrote the plan in 1986. Now, if Bill is healthy enough, and I don't know, if Bill is healthy enough, within the first 6 months of Hillary taking office, Bill Clinton will be made U.S. ambassador to the UN. It's written. It's ready to go. And then within 6 months after that, because of the work the Clinton Foundation has been doing with the UN, Bill Clinton will be made the Secretary General of the UN. And at that point, Bill and Hillary will have achieved what they wanted since the first day I met them, what Hillary has dreamed about since she was 4 years old. They will be the most powerful couple ever in the history of the world. And she will walk over every one of us. She'll walk over all of you blacks out there, Black Lives Matter. She'll walk all over you Mexicans out there. She'll walk all over you. She'll walk over everybody to get there. She'll walk over our children and grandchildren to get there. You will live in a world that you do not believe today could possibly exist. That's my problem, Lisa. That's our problem, yours and mine. People mentally can't think of the world in America the way it'll be. We just can't think that way because we've never seen it. We've never seen it.
And I think that plays into the normalcy bias. It really does. I mean, if things don't impact our immediate world, if we're not seeing changes right in front of our eyes, if everything seems fine at your Common Core, public school district where you're, and everything seems okay, these things aren't as noticeable. It's not until your kid comes home and they're teaching you about the Islamic indoctrination and saying, hey, Islam is the best religion, teaching 8, 9, 10 pages out of it versus Christianity gets half a page. I mean, that's what Common Core does. And it's not until that stuff hits repeatedly, and not just in education, in all aspects of our life, when our military starts wearing the blue hats. And our police start wearing the blue hats.
Lisa, let me show you how it'll happen. Years ago, Adolfo Calero, very great man, he was the head of the Contras years ago. He was the big gray-headed guy that was always with Reagan. I asked him when I was in Managua, and I looked around and I said, Adolfo, all these buildings look like they were massive, beautiful buildings at one time. Now they're all run down and vines growing all over them. He said, Larry, it happened so subtly, so slowly, we didn't see it until it ended. That's where we are here. Now, if you don't believe that they can make the world a total world that you can't even conceive of now, when Hillary gets in office, I'm going to bring you one little thing. If I'd have told you 5 years ago, if I'd have told you 5 years ago that there was this group of people that thought because they were in a man's body they were really a woman, or woman in a man's body, or man in a woman's body, if I'd have told you people like that really existed, you would have probably thought I was crazy. You'd have said, well, they're just mentally sick, right, Lisa? They're just mentally sick.
Right.
But if I'd have told you 5 years ago, well, I got news for you. The government's going to pass a law that says we got to give these people access to the restrooms in our schools with our children. You would have said I was crazy. You would have said I was crazy. But it happened. It happened. happen. It has happened, right? You
Yeah.
see it. It's
Yeah.
here. It's here now. So don't tell me, oh, Larry, you're just talking about this woolly booger stuff and it's not really, it can't possibly happen. If you believe that, you're a fool. And I'm going to tell you something else, Lisa, please, not you, but to your audience. I have been asked for years, tell us what to do to save the country. I can show you a million people, Lisa, that run around on the radio, television, everywhere else, and they just state the problem. But they never tell you what to do about it.
Yep.
That video, states' rights video, Revolution 2.0. You get that video. Get it. It's $20, $19.99 or whatever. And I don't get any of the money. I don't get it. That's not mine. And I'd give it to you, but it's not my video. I wouldn't give it to you if I could give it to you. You need skin in the game. Skin in the game. There's one thing that will save this nation immediately before it's gone. And if we wait 3 more months, it's over. And that is states' rights. And don't blame me, blame Jefferson, Adams, Franklin. They put that in the Constitution, for they knew there would be a day, Lisa, when a group of people would take over our form of government and twist it around and become tyrannical. And they said, you must overthrow it. And they gave us states' rights to do it.
Absolutely. They built that into our Constitution for a reason. And I think that gets overlooked. Now, real quick, I want to just bring up, if you guys want to donate directly to Larry, he does have a PayPal account in which you can do that. And that is Larry, or Nichols Live. What is it, Larry?
Nichols Live at AOL.com.
Yes, Nichols, Nichols, live at AOL.com. He doesn't get paid for anything that he does. He comes and he leaks this information, and he's found some unfortunate news out earlier today, and so just keep him in your prayers too. I ask all of you to do that. He's a good friend, a good man, and I absolutely adore you, Larry. So that said, we're also going to take a quick break for our sponsor at getthetea.com.
Health in America is becoming a top priority. Or maybe I should say, good health in the world is becoming a top priority. Maintaining a healthy body can be challenging. How about letting Life Change Tea help you? Our tea you make, you drink, and you benefit. Our unique blend of 8 different herbs helps you maintain good digestion, a healthy colon, and detoxes harmful toxins and parasites out of your body. And you know what? It tastes great. If you're wanting a change, a life change when it comes to health, log on to getthetea.com. That's getthetea.com. Or you can call us at 928-308-0408. That's 928-308-0408. When you log on to our mobile-friendly website, you can read all the numerous testimonies of how Life Change Tea has helped so many people. We carry many, many beneficial products that help your health and keep you on track. Getthetea.com. Kind of gets in your head, doesn't it? Getthetea.com.
And we are back to When Conspiracy Becomes Reality radio broadcast, brought to you by LeadingEdgeRadioNetwork.com. All right, Larry, you and I were focusing in on those state rights, and we've touched on a lot, from rigged elections to state rights to things that we need to do. Now, I do have kind of a question. Do you believe if Hillary Clinton gets in, I know Donald Trump said he would not raise taxes, he would decrease them, and Hillary is saying a similar thing, but yet I have the feeling that we're going to see some raised taxes on the middle class. What is your take on all of that?
Let me tell you, there's a rule that Hillary lives by, and I know she does because I wrote it. Bill and Hillary live by it. Here it is. You make your opponent out to be whatever he's got to be made out to be to lose. And you make yourself to be whatever you need to be to win. That means lie. promise people anything in the election. Promise anything. So, for example, Mexicans, we're going to make you all legal. Muslims, we're going to make you all legal, and then we're going to let y'all practice Sharia law. Blacks, we're going to give you whatever y'all want. And they'll vote in blocks. And they will vote for it. And then once she gets elected, of course, she's not going to do any of that. She's not going to do it. If you don't believe me, look at Barack Hussein Obama. Ask a black, are you any better off today since Barack Obama, your brother, is in office?
No.
Has he advantaged the black community at all?
You made it worse.
Yeah. That's what Hillary do. That's what these people do. It's a give-a-thon. Now, the problem you have with Hillary, folks, the media is in the tank for Hillary. But remember, they lead through extortion and blackmail. The owners of all of the mainstream media, Hillary's got stuff on them. She knows who their girlfriends are, their boyfriends. She knows which ones are on drugs. She knows all of that and holds it over their head daily. See, Donald Trump is wrong. Donald Trump, and I've tried to get to him and have not been successful, so there's nothing I can do. But Donald Trump has thought, because of the way he ran the primary, that he was going to get in here and he was just going to get it like he did then. No. See, when he was running the primary, Lisa, he was up against a bunch of Republicans. And the media loves to watch Republicans eat each other up. But he's in a race against Hillary now. And there's nothing that he's going to get, nothing that is out about Hillary that's going to get any play. And they're going to lie about him, and it's going to come full screen every day. Everybody's going to hear it. For example, now they've got the media, the mainstream media, now over that mohair named Khan, who lost his son. They've got Trump out as being crazy. And the media's even talking, Lisa, about what are they going to do when Trump has to pull out because of his mental incapacitated. He's incapacitated mentally.
Oh my goodness, that's more Hillary.
That's Hillary
Woman
work.
psycho.
That's Hillary work. This is crazy. He's going to get chewed up. He's going to get destroyed. And he doesn't realize it. There's only one way, Donald Trump, if you're listening to me, you need to call me. I don't want any money. I don't want any recognition. I don't want anything to do with your campaign. But you ought to call me. The one man that it is history got a lick on Clinton and made it stick and got him impeached. When all these other big people in the country tried and didn't get anything done. You got to know what they're going to do to you ahead of time, Lisa, and then do a strategy before it happens to stop it. That's how you beat them. But you don't sit there and think you can counter. See, Trump thinks he can counterpunch his way out of a Hillary battle. Like he did in the primary, right? Yeah. You say something about me, I'll call you an ugly name. You can't do that against Hillary, Trump. You know why? You can counterpunch all you want, but the media's not going to carry your counterpunch. They're not even going to carry your explanation of why they're lying about you.
That's because they're sold out to Hillary. That's
absolutely. 100% sold out.
That's the sickening part. And that's why I think more people are turning on to alternative media like you, like me, like InfoWars, like Michael Savage and Defka Files. All these ones are where people are turning. I mean, I know the numbers on Fox and CNN and all these channels are down, but they're not telling you that. They're never going to share that, especially on mainstream news. But we know that, and the most that I think we can do from where we're at is start winning the information war and start taking steps, like you said earlier, to push states' rights.
Yeah, it is a mess, Lisa. It's trouble.
Absolutely.
So, You know, folks, I'm asking you. And I'm asking nice now. But I'm about, Lisa, to get where I'm not nice. We've got to fight. Lisa. We can't just roll over and let them do it. Get the video and use it. Use that video. Save our nation. Save it using states' rights. States' rights will work. And those of you that say, oh, no, it won't work. This is old. It's not going to work. Hey, tell them about Colorado. Colorado wanted to legalize marijuana. We know what they did. They passed a law to legalize marijuana. It was against federal law, and the federal government didn't want them to. Colorado fought it. And they said, we're going to do it. And they're selling marijuana today, aren't they?
Yep, even though it's against federal law.
Again, it's federal law, because see, federal law doesn't really apply. There is no federal law that applies.
Too bad they didn't do that in Tennessee.
Huh?
Too bad they didn't do that in Tennessee.
That's right. Too bad Jan Brewer didn't do it in Arizona when she had that legislation for immigration. A very good, solid, straightforward immigration plan in Tennessee, in Arizona. She did everything. The state passed it. The state put it on the ballot. The legislature ratified it. She signed it. Everything was exactly the way it was supposed to be. She made one mistake with me begging them not to. Don't go to federal court. Well, her attorney general assured her she had to go to federal court. She went, and they lost.
I have a question for you, Larry.
Uh-huh.
Why is it that you think states, like, what Jan Brewer did, like what they did in Tennessee, why do you think they bow over? Is it truly because they're ignorant, or is there another agenda?
Well, what happens typically, a governor defers a decision like this to his what? Attorney General. And an Attorney General is a what? Lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And our founding fathers had two categories of people that they would not let into Congress or into our government. One was witches, the other was barristers. Another name for attorneys. They didn't want them anywhere near the governing of a nation, because they would do things that benefit them. So imagine Attorney General, right? He's got a chance to take one of his law firm buddies, get them to represent the state of Arizona in that case, in a federal case. Federal case law is expensive. The attorneys make a killing. So, of course, they're going to recommend going to federal court, because that's his industry. His industry, the legal industry, that's what they do. So, guess what? He told her to go on to it. But that's just a part, you see, Lisa, of how we've been socially engineered and dumbed down. Jan Brewer should have had the ability to read for herself the power that the state has. And don't worry about what the Attorney General says. Attorney Generals are always going to want you to go to court. That's what they do. And I'm not talking, folks, we're not talking about in this video succeeding from the nation. It's not succession. It's just reclaiming the constitutional right that all of the states have right now. Gosh.
And that's the thing. It does make you wonder, why people give up power. I know we have the attorneys, and so is it just like, it's their word over? Is that kind of the idea there with the attorneys? Do they just have that much power over them?
Well, it's just it's a chain of command thing that, protocol is, the governor's the governor, but if it's legal issues, the governor's attorney is the attorney general.
But see, is it even illegal? That's the question. Don't they know? That states actually they are above. Or are you suggesting, we just you know what I'm trying to ask? Is it truly illegal to say, like what Colorado did, say we're going to go against federal law here and do our own thing? For the states.
It's not illegal. It's legal. It's
Yeah.
the right of the state to govern itself.
So why don't the attorney generals do that and follow that rule?
Because attorney generals are politicians, Lisa. And politicians that are attorney generals for a state, guess what? They want to grow up and be governors, or they want to grow up and be representatives or United States senators. They are climbing the ladder. And so they're not going to buck the system. They're politicians. And they're going to climb the ladder. They're not going to give you decisions based off trueness of law. They're not.
So they're
The only
buck
time
kissers.
you will see an attorney general stand up for a principle issue, look it up, folks. See if you can find one. The only time you see an attorney general stand up for a principled issue is when he sticks his finger up in the air and finds out that the population is really for it. Then he'll get in front of the parade and say, "Follow me." Now, by the way, on this video, just to show you, I stayed in the video. There's a way to get rid of illegal immigration. And you don't have to go through 50 years of congressional hearings, Senate hearings, and all of these billions of dollars. You even have to build a wall. All you got to do is fix it in your state, pass a law in your state that any business that hires an illegal, and they have to use E-Verify, and if they hire somebody that shows to be illegal on E-Verify, the first offense is a $5,000 fine and 90 days in jail mandatory. Second offense, $10,000 fine, a year in jail mandatory. You won't prosecute 3 or 4 business owners until there will not be an illegal that gets a job. There won't be a Mexican get a job that's here illegally. Then, on the video, it says you do the same thing to renters in companies that rent apartments and sell homes, to the real estate people. Anybody selling or renting to an illegal after they've checked with E-Verify, the same fine and time in jail applies. Well, guess what, Lisa? This is hard to figure, isn't it? If they can't work and they can't find a place to live, guess what they'll do? They'll leave. What did that cost you?
Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing.
Now, is that so hard for anybody to understand? I mean, is that not just common sense?
Well, I guess
They're
it
here
depends on if
illegally.
you're a corrupt politician and you're counting on those votes, right?
Mm-hmm. Why do you think in North Carolina, when the state requested it, when you have to have ID to what? Buy a gun, get a driver's license, marriage license,
But
all
not to
kinds
vote.
of everything. Why? Why all of a sudden with North Carolina, well, North Carolina didn't, why would the government put up such a roadblock to having to have ID to prove who you are in an election before you vote?
Should be nothing wrong with that.
Shouldn't be anything wrong with it, should there? Mm-hmm. But they are.
You know,
The government has blocked it and said you can't do it.
here's the
Now,
thing, too. There's only
state
one
need-
candidate benefiting from that right now, and who is that? Hillary Clinton. That's the only one, because we know that they don't like the idea that Trump wants to build a wall or that he actually wants to vet people coming into this country, so we're not accepting ISIS into the country, for heaven's sake.
That's right. Now, let me give you another one. Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, a Republican. He has announced that he has a lawsuit ready to be filed in case Donald Trump were to win the presidency and try to implement his immigration policy on stopping Muslims from Syria coming into this country without us having a system to find out who they are. He's got a lawsuit ready to file to shut that down.
What would that lawsuit entail?
I have not a clue.
I mean, it's illegal. I mean, hello, illegal immigration. Here he's got some stupid lawsuit. That ticks me off. Here, people like Paul Ryan, I mean, they come out as this nice, good old boy in the beginning, and then their true colors surface the longer and later they're in there. Now, whether that's via blackmail or their actual belief, I just don't know. I think it's both. I mean, do you think it's both?
Both. They are all. Anybody that's in the system 6 months is a part of the establishment in the system.
And how does Trump manage to avoid that? You think there's stuff on him, or they're going to?
Well, I think Trump. The reason I think Trump would be good is, number one, he's a prideful man, very prideful.
Amen. I like that.
So if he were to get elected, I think he would build that wall if for no other reason, so that he didn't look like he failed to his family. You know, he's promised his family he's building that wall. He's promised Americans he's building that wall.
Right.
And I believe he's going to go to Washington and make sure he does. But he can't under the system we have now. You know, Joe Scarborough, the other morning, I heard it myself. Joe Scarborough, former Republican representative from Florida, said, if Donald Trump gets elected, within 2 days he will be shut down because Paul Ryan, Mitch McConnell, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer, they will shut down everything he tries to do.
I think America will revolt against those people.
Well, the way you beat it, and that's why I wish Trump would talk to me, because if he would join and make a part of his platform states' rights, he could educate a whole lot of Americans with his speeches about the power of states' rights and how you can strip that damn Washington of all of its power.
Yep.
And
that's what needs to happen. You don't need that much power from, quote, from the pulpit, so to speak, just because they are where they are. But anyhow, Larry, we only have, about 1 minute left. So can you share that information one last time, the PayPal info, as well as the information on the videos?
Okay, if you want to help me, it's Nichols Live at AOL.com on PayPal. But if you only have $20, buy the video. Don't help me. The video will save our nation. And you get that by going to statesrights.video. States with an S, rights with an S, statesrights.video. And you want to purchase the video called Revolution 2.0. Please get it. It's a tool. Watch it 3 times. And then at least 2 times a month, show it to people.
Awesome. And then your PayPal was nicholslive at AOL.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, thanks again for tuning into my channel here at When Conspiracy Becomes Reality radio broadcast, brought to you by www.leadingedgeradionetwork.com. I was your host this evening, Lisa Haven, and thanks again for tuning in.